All right, I think we are going to get started. So hello everyone, and thanks for joining today's Tempest Nova Tip Time. It is our last weekly webinar for the second quarter. Today we will be covering priority pages and workspaces in Drive with our fabulous Google trainer, Gary Wagner. My name is Sophie. Light off, I've been with Tempest Nova for a short few months, but we have been a Google partner since 2008, which means we've done a ton of projects over the past 12 years. As a Google Cloud product suite continues to grow with more services and features constantly being released, we thought it'd be a great time to start this weekly webinar, which we will also be expanding into Q3 as well. Since Gary has now over 500,000 views on our Tempest Nova YouTube training channel, we thought it'd be a perfect time for you all to see who follows him and what would be interested in learning about all the other Google products. Since many of you are G Suite administrators or training coordinators in your organization, you can definitely feel free to reach out to Gary or anybody on our sales team with help on how we can better support your organization. So without further ado, Gary, you can take it away.
Thank you, Sophie. Welcome everyone. Once again, my name is Gary Wagner, and otherwise known as Gary the Google Guy. So what we are going to do is we are going to jump into our live demonstration. And the live demo today is we're going to talk about priority pages, which is a fairly new feature to Google, and I have to admit I use it all the time, and I'll show you how I use it, and maybe you can apply that to you, as well as creating your own workspaces within that priority page. So if for some reason you don't see the priority page in the upper left corner underneath your new button, either your domain may have that setting turned off, or you may need to shut your computer down and restart it, as well as empty your cookies and cache from your browser. That's a couple of things that a lot of people neglect to do, and they don't always get those newest updates and changes to interface and so on. So if for some reason you don't see that priority page there, you might have to do one of those two things. Most likely empty your cookies and cache, which would be through the three-dot menu in the upper right corner of the screen. In your Chrome browser, you can go to More Tools and then Clear Browsing Data, and you'll see cookies and cache, and I would recommend deleting from all time. And basically they're just the footprints in the sand of where you've gone with your internet browser, what pages you've visited, and so on. So with that, let's talk about this new feature in the upper left corner. So we're going to click on to priority. Now what this is it's going to allow you to have those things that you're wanting to access the quickest and work on a regular basis in one nice, neat, tidy place. And that's what I really like about it. So to kind of give you an example, let's go back to my Drive, as most people will be working with Drive are. Now if I get a new client, for example, one of our salespeople pinged me a new client this morning saying, okay, here are a couple of things document-wise. We're going to create a folder for that client, and here's some pieces of information you need to know. We're going to need to get a training schedule set up, communications set up, get all those communications in one place, and things like that. So everything kind of relating to that one client and the needs. Now, what I have been doing is either I star them and find them from my starred list, or I will routinely go to the upper part of the screen into the URL bar and I will put a star on them there as a bookmark. That way when I click and create a new tab, I have those specific files up at the top that I'm looking for and can grab those quickly as a bookmark because they are URLs. So let's say, for example, we're going to create this new client set of files. What would I do? Well, typically I would go to the different folders that I would have, and I might have to click 2 or 3 times to get into that folder structure of where those particular files may be. Open the file, make a copy of it, reorganize it into my new project client file. And I may have to do that 6 or 7 times, if not more, depending on the needs of that client. Or I may have to go through my files that I have on my desktop here in terms of my Drive file and find the file that I want, make a copy of it, and then reorganize it from there. So depending on what I'm looking for, there's multiple clicks involved, in other words. That all changed when priority went into play because of the fact I can now create a workspace. So for example, down at the bottom middle of our screen we have create workspace, and what I can call this is, we'll call it our client startup files. Now the advantage to this is I can actually add files from anywhere, whether they are from a team drive as a shared drive that's been renamed as of late, or whether I'm grabbing from my own drive. It's basically just going to copy a URL into this workspace for me so I can quickly access those files, open them up when I need to. So let's show you how to do that. Now from here I can click add files. Panel to the right side will pop out and I can find anything recent, anything in my drive, anything that's in my shared drives. So let's say for example we have our training template, our schedule template there. I need that. So let's go ahead and insert that. So we insert that file and we'll say done. And now in that client startup files I have that particular schedule template in one nice neat place. Well, there's multiple other files that I may need, but I may not know where they're at looking for them from here, or I just don't want to do them from here and I add them along the way. So if we go back to my drive, another way that you can constantly add files to a workspace is we can find files either from folders and digging those out of there, or I can go to whatever I have in terms of files. I can right click, and in the right click menu you will see an option with a plus symbol of add to workspace, and you should see the names of your workspaces. Click on the place that you want it to go and it will now add a copy of the link to that file from there. So the biggest advantage is that your organization of those files stays in the folders where you're looking and putting those files, as well as giving you a link for wherever you need to add them. So let me just kind of flip through here and see if there's another file that I may want to use. Project timesheet would probably be another one that would be good to add, and we'll add that. So now when I come into my priority page, I see my client startup files. I can quickly open any of those files without having to dig through the folder structure to get to them. So it's a very convenient one-stop shop in one nice neat place for it. So I really like that. Now the other piece that's actually pretty cool as well is, let's say for example you create something for a specific item like my new hire class. Well, to start off with, as Google is as it is today, there are certain things that I would want my new hires to know, new files to deal with, open, create, or whatever. I can add all of those in this new hire class. Now once that's done, I don't necessarily need to access that every single day if I don't need to, but what I can do is in the little arrow to the right side of the workspace name, I can either rename it or I can hide it. Now what does hiding do? Well, if we hide something, you'll see if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see hidden workspaces, and I can see all of the hidden workspaces that I created before but just wanted to put out aside because there are other ones that are more important that I need up at the top right now that I'm currently working on. You can go to those hidden ones and say, you know what, we need to work on this again. We click on unhide, pops that back into play, and now I can start working with my new hire class, the shared drive class, and my client startup files in one place. You know what, we don't need the hire class right now, so let's hide, and that now hides that and puts that down below. So that is how you can create a workspace. You can hide one. From here you can click on create workspace from scratch, enter a name, create multiple workspaces, hide them and do whatever you need to do, unhide them, and then if for some reason you decide, you know what, we no longer need any of the files that are in one of our areas here, so we can click on the three dots to the right of a file, we can remove it from a workspace, takes a file out of there, or that same little black arrow to the right of the name of the workspace, we can remove a workspace, and that will actually delete it. So that is how you can work with, and that's actually how I work with this priority workspace all the time. Now I've got one additional bonus and benefit for you when you're working with these priority pages, and that is if you go to your gear icon in the top right of our screen, go to settings. Another cool piece that they have added is underneath suggestions, which is on your very first page of settings, the last setting down at the bottom of that grouping, you'll see that there is an option to make priority my default home page. So what that does is whenever you open Google Drive up, it automatically opens up that priority page as its home page. So you can immediately get busy and start working with those files in that one nice neat workplace. I know people right now that are working more with the priority page than they are with the My Drive, the shared drives, and the shared with me workspaces. They are working from their priority page because they can group all the specific files that are relevant to them and their job right there in one nice neat place. So that is a really cool benefit that you can add as a home page. So that is what I have for you in terms of working with Google Drive priority page, as well as creating those workspaces. Keep in mind you can go to the settings gear, make that priority page as your home page so that when you open up Drive it goes right to this. And any files that you have up at the very top there, those ones that you've worked on maybe most recently, you can just click on open those regardless of what workspace you've worked in, as well as finding the specific files that you need to open and work with from here. So you've got these different files, you can right click on them, you can download them, work with them as you need to with the right click menu, or you can click on the three dot menu and do what you need to do from that area as well. Okay, so with that I am going to hand it back over to Sophie. And so Sophie, why don't you go ahead and take it away from there?
All right, thank you so much, Gary. That was perfect timing, and thanks for keeping it short and sweet. And I want to give a special thanks to everybody that has attended in the past quarter. We hope you found today's session and the previous ones extremely helpful. If you ever have missed any in the past, you can go to our website and find that under weekly webinars, and then also our YouTube page. We will be sending over a quarter 3 schedule very shortly, and we hope to see you next quarter. Thank you so much.